All right, welcome back to another episode of the Unified Field podcast with myself, Tom Horn, Tom Cat. Go by a few different names. And I hope you're having a beautiful day, whatever day it is for you. Could be a Monday, could be a Sunday. Not sure, but hope you're having a beautiful, beautiful day or night, whatever it is. You get the gist. Yeah, so lots been going on, and you might notice if you're watching, there's a bit of a different light going on in here. Got myself a Cobb light. Been learning all about lighting because lighting is a thing. You know, it makes a big difference. Lighting up the room, creating the vibe, has a big effect. So I don't have the full setup that I'm looking for. I'm getting like this lantern that you plug on to like this Cobb light, and it's a travel size one, so I'm going to be able to like take it on the road with me. But once you put the lantern on it, right now it's bouncing off the wall, and kind of illuminating the background and probably illuminating my face a bit. But with the lantern, it's going to soften the light a lot. So yeah, really looking forward to see how that lifts the vibe, lifts the spirit, and yeah, main thing is taking it away with me, right? Like going to be able to take that on the road for like a modular traveling podcast setup. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, what a beautiful morning it has been. It's Friday as I record this, and just had a really beautiful tea sit this morning with the brothers next door. Cade McConnell, I'm Cade on Instagram. He's a complete legend, and yeah, just had a little tea ceremony this morning with a bunch of guys, and so beautiful. Getting up nice and early, sitting down, having a little meditation, kind of just recalibrating on all the things that I have been swirling around my frantic brain this week. And it was really nice to just tune in, chill out, as I love to do. Keep yourself in balance, keep yourself tuned in and tuned up, and yeah, last night was also really beautiful. I was a guest on a panel for Business Mawulamba's monthly kind of networking event with a couple of other creative professionals, and yeah, it was actually such an awesome experience. Don't think I've ever been on a panel as such before. You know, I've spent a lot of my life, my professional life, presenting to people. You know, presenting to clients, presenting to companies. You know, sometimes quite not large audiences, but you know, upwards of 50 people sometimes. And it's such an exhilarating experience when you get up and get into that flow state. You know, like we had some questions to answer and some great discussion around branding and business and purpose, and I'm going to go through a bit of that on this episode today, just reflecting on what kind of naturally came out of my mouth last night as I started to just go into a bit of a flow state around particular topics. And yeah, it was just such a cool experience. It was held at Spangled Drongo out in Mawulambar. They're out in the industrial estate. They are a awesome beer company, so if you're into beer, check out Spangled Drongo. They got a great pale ale. It's delicious. I do love a good pale ale. I do love a good Spangled Drongo. But they hosted us last night, which was really cool. And yeah, there was, I don't know how many people there were, maybe 30 people or so, mainly locals in the area. But it was just great to commune and get people together. And yeah, it was a great opportunity for me to kind of share my knowledge, or what you would maybe call knowledge, my perspective on branding and on business, on life. Basically what I talk about on this pod a little bit, I guess. And then yeah, also what's been going on is mentally and energetically preparing, and physically got to get some work out the door and set myself up to be able to leave smoothly. But this trip to Arnhem Land is coming up. It's in about 2 weeks from now. When these episodes get released, I'm probably at Arnhem Land when you're listening to this, in Arnhem Land. And again, going with Brother Cade next door, it's going to be so good. There's about 10 of us going up, led by Jesse Lethbridge, who is an amazing musician, great guy. He's very deeply connected with the culture up there. So he's taken a group of us out there for 10 days, East Arnhem Land, camping, fishing, yidaki making, I don't even know what else, corroboree, singing, dancing, music, fires, stars, crocodiles. We will see, but hopefully we'll make a little video. I'm sure we're going to meet some amazing people up there too, and hopefully do a little bit of storytelling, a little bit of sharing up there as well. Yeah, so what was some of the main takeaways that was kind of coming out last night was finding purpose. Purpose is a very important piece of life, I believe. If you don't have a purpose in life, what are you doing? You're kind of just floating around, a ship lost at sea, so to speak. Your purpose is really your North Star that guides you throughout your life. And really, most people hear about legacy and when you get, I guess, into the older brackets of life where you're moving into those more wise years, you probably start to tune into legacy more and more. But really your legacy is what people, or the stories that are told of your life's work, the imprint that was left behind, the difference that was made is your legacy of your life's work. And what your life's work is your purpose, right? And I think that's a very important thing to understand, is that your purpose is something that is with you all the time. You're born with it. Maybe your life's purpose was already with you before you were born. If you may be into that sort of stuff. I believe everyone has a very clear purpose, and it's almost our job as humans throughout our life is to become attuned with your purpose. Like, that is it. It might not be so immediately obvious to you at the beginning of your life, but as you progress, you become more and more in tune with your purpose. You keep tuning into it, and keep making more and more impact as you grow as a human being. And I think I've mentioned on previous episodes, it's like my purpose has always been about potential. Like, for some reason, I've just always been obsessed with potential, and not just with myself, but just people. Like, I love learning the stories of how people got to where they were and the difference that they made. Like, what were their core, like, what did they believe in, and how did they dedicate their lives to make that belief something that makes a difference in the world. And when I was growing up, I was very inspired by musicians and artists mainly. And I believe musicians and artists are great examples of people that live their purpose and also execute really amazing brands, which typically you don't think about, right? Like, when you think of a band, a band or an artist, think of your favorite artist. It might be like Basquiat or Keith Haring or whoever, right? Any of these artists, they all stand for something, right? They have a very clear message that they're getting out to the world, and there's a very clear, or not even clear to them probably, it's a process of them working out what it is they're expressing through their art. They're not necessarily all solved on it before they begin. It might not be completely clear to them, but through their art, through their creation, their purpose becomes, it evolves, it emerges, right? Your purpose starts to become clearer. It starts to come through you. You start breathing through your purpose, because your purpose is very much attuned with your soul. If you're into soul, believe that there's a soul within you, a unique self within inside your soul, this kind of inner guidance that is unique to you. It's an expression of the universe. It's an expression of the wholeness, but in your own unique self, in your physical body. You have a soul, and your purpose is really similar to that. They're very much attuned. I believe your soul and your purpose are working together, and it's through the action, through the expression that this thing evokes, or this thing emerges, your purpose, right? So bands and artists, I find, are great examples. Like, if you're a business owner, or maybe you're starting a business, or maybe you're just yourself and you're looking to make a difference in the world, maybe you'll turn that into a business, who knows? But either way, look at people in the world that have made a difference, you know? It's like, and I, like, as I said, bands and musicians and artists are a great example, because to be a really successful artist or musician, you know, you kind of have to nail all the same aspects that branding has, all the same components, you know. You need to have a really clear belief system, right? Your music needs to evoke some sort of emotion and relate to people that can resonate with it. You know, it needs to be authentic. If you're not authentic, people can smell that. And I think there's a lot of that going around, whether it's in social media these days or music, like auto-tune and all these things, just sounds so artificial. And people love authentic connection. That's how we resonate as human beings, right? You need to be able to create a difference in the way that you communicate. You need to stand out from the rest, which is a very important part of letting your message be clear. Because if you're sort of, you know, not standing out in any way, it's just getting lost. Your message gets lost. And that's the same with business, right? Like if you're not differentiating in any way, whether it's through your messaging or the way you look, you know, bands are great at creating looks too, symbolism, fashion, all these sorts of things, colors, particular styles, like, you know, the psychedelic movement, hip-hop movements. You know, they all have a very particular visual aesthetic that people can identify with, that represents an identity. You know, these are all very similar aspects to businesses. You know, businesses have colors, symbols, imagery, and even as yourself, if you're looking to really expand as a human being, or maybe it's a personal brand, it's a similar thing. It's like, how do you present yourself? How do you, you know, stand out from the others? How do you make your message so clear and so authentic that it can resonate? And you don't have to have all this stuff nutted out, you know. You really don't have to have all this stuff nutted out to start. And that was a big takeaway from last night, and even, you know, with myself as I reflect on my life, is that someone said to me last night, I go, wow, you're quite good at presenting. And I'm like, well, you know, it's because I've been presenting long enough. You know, I've been presenting to people a lot over the years, trying to get ideas across, trying to influence people to, you know, start projects, trying to work within organizations to drive change. And I've developed this skill, and now I'm podcasting, right? I'm in here talking and using this as a format to keep honing my skills and finding my voice. And you don't have to have all this stuff nutted out to start. You really don't. You can find it as you go, and in fact, through the process is where you find your voice. It's where you find your purpose. You can't find your purpose sitting in a dark room hoping that it's going to just come out of the clouds and have an epiphany. Oh, that's my purpose. You find your purpose through action and reflection. First, you need to act. You know, you can't, without having any experience in the world, how do you know why you exist? You know, you exist to live. You exist to, you know, be a human being on this earth, yes. But what is your unique contribution to the world? Why do you really exist? And I believe it's important. There's the context to your purpose too, because we're all here for a reason at a certain time. You know, right now we're living in 2024. There's particular things going on in the world that need to be addressed, and we're all part of the solution. You know, we are the difference that we want to see in the world. That's really the truth. And I'm just going to pause this. The heater just turned on and it's making a lot of noise. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I believe that we're all here for a reason at a particular time, you know, and your purpose is broad. You can apply your purpose to anything, but this particular time is evoking your purpose to come forth and make the change that is needed in the world. That's what I believe anyway. And I'd love to hear everyone else's perspective on that. You know, people that might be wondering why we're here. You know, why are you here? You know, think about that. Like, really, why am I here? Is it to just have a free ride, or am I here to make a change? You know, am I here to make a contribution? What is the difference that I'm hoping to make in the world? What do I really care about beneath it all? Like, beneath the money, I apart from money aside, if we lived in a world where money didn't matter, what would you be doing with your life? And that's a great question I love to ask people in order to find your purpose. It's like, what would you be doing if money wasn't a thing with your life? What would you be doing? You know, would you still be making a difference? Would you be more of an artist? Would you be working on the land more? Would you be out in nature more? Would you be more focused on family, or would you be, making music, or what is it that actually, you would do for free? Because we're not here to sit around your whole life, right? We're here to create, to express, and that's an interesting little thing to ponder on, I believe. So, purpose is it's a necessity to be engaged in life. It's something that taps you into the real nature of being human, and it's the same for business. If you're a business leader, you might have a small team. Rather than being a boss and bossing people around, leaders really lead with purpose. Leadership is from a higher purpose. People don't follow or aren't inspired by bosses. Bosses create servants or slaves, and leadership creates autonomous human beings who are in tune with what they want to do with their life too, and we're working towards a similar goal, towards a similar future. It's interesting, right? Purpose. It's like, how do you find your purpose? How do you find your purpose? Well, you need to invest in yourself. Investing in yourself is one of the most important things to do in life. Taking the time, spending some sort of resource or making some sort of commitment to investing in yourself makes a huge difference in your life. That might be, seeing a therapist. It might be going on a particular trip that that you've been yearning for, that's going to really add to your life experience, maybe be a catalyst for change in your life. When you look back, it's like, from my perspective at 32, which, I'm just getting started in life, but I can look back already on my life and say, hey, these are the moments that really defined me. They really defined my worldview. For instance, I went my first trip overseas as a teenager or as an adult, without my parents. I went to India and Nepal and with a couple of mates, and went for about 4 months, and it was a completely life-changing experience. And I could have gone and done some, trip somewhere to party or whatever, but it wasn't really what I felt like doing. And me and my mates looked at each other and were like, oh, where can we go for the longest amount of time with the least amount of money? And, India was a clear winner, and Nepal. And it just completely changed my whole perspective on life and really tuned me into my potential too, to my purpose, by having that sort of worldview exposed to me at that age. It was really an investment in myself in a lot of ways, and it might sound selfish, but I believe it's really important to do these things. And this trip to Arnhem Land, for instance, for me is really an investment. I'm like, oh, I want to do that, but I know I'll look back and go, wow, that was a pivotal anchor point in my life that sparked a new path or a new view or a new understanding of the world. And it's hard to invest in yourself, there's so many deterrents kind of making you maybe not do that, and maybe you're not confident enough to invest in yourself. But really, you're your biggest asset. That to me that's just woke me up so much when I realized that it's like only you are your own asset in life. You can invest in other people as much as you like, but that's out of your control, and that's limited to your control. The one thing you can control in your life is yourself. So it's really important to invest in yourself, because that's really your potential right there. The more limits you put on yourself is the limits that you're going to make fulfilling your potential in life and really excelling in life, is purely based on how much you're willing to invest in yourself. Because you are your biggest asset, and that is it's a big one. And to invest in yourself also requires a level of understanding that you don't have to have it all right, to get going. It's incremental investments, it's incremental development of yourself. You might have a big dream and a big ambition in life, but it's so far away. We get so caught up about, this is where I want to be, this is who I want to be, this is the kind of bank account I've got, this is how many followers I have on social media. All these external things that are way off into the future. They could be decades, if not ever achieved in your lifespan. And even when you get to these milestones, you're still not fulfilled, right? The goal just keeps getting pushed further back. And you can get caught in this cycle of you get caught in this toxic cycle of always wanting something external and working really hard for this thing right out in the future. But really, the process is where you find the value. The process is the most valuable thing. You should be rewarding yourself at every stage of the process, every minute of your day that you're working towards your dream or working within your dream, because your dream's not external. Your dream is internal. You have imagined this dream. You can see it. You've got some inner guidance of your dream, right? So it's not an external thing. So you're not working towards it. You're working within it. You're bringing it into fruition. You're manifesting it every day. It's an incremental step. And in this day and age, with the artificial world colliding with the natural world more and more, authenticity is your biggest asset as well. Yourself is your asset, and you are your biggest asset, and your biggest asset within yourself is authenticity. If you're trying to pretend to be something, or like I'm saying, you're always pursuing something far, far away, and you're living in this limbo of being over here, being out there, when really tuning into what's already here. You are where you are. You're in the process of life in this present moment infinitely, forever, perpetually. You are you, and it's tuning into your authentic nature, and that's where you start to find the answers. And you don't get all the answers at once. You get them incrementally, and it's through investing in yourself, right? So all I can say is, if you're, it could be older than me, it could be younger than me. It doesn't really matter about the age. I think forever, if you're feeling any kind of funk, if you're feeling any kind of tension within your life, any kind of resistance or unsettlement that you feel like you need to address, or maybe you're not even aware of it and you're listening to this and you're like, maybe I do need to address something. Invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. It's the best decision you can make. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing right here, with this podcast. This is an investment in myself. It's not a business move right now. It's really not. It's an expression for myself. I know it could turn into some part of my revenue in the future. Perhaps we'll see. But really, it's a form for me. Like I've mentioned prior, it's a form of expression for me. Your purpose can be applied to anything, right? Like if you're an artist, and your purpose, you're in tune with your purpose. Doesn't matter what kind of art you do. You're still channeling your purpose. You could sculpt, you could make documentary films, you could paint, whatever it is. But if you're in tune with your purpose, it doesn't matter what medium you're choosing. You're choosing the one that is enabling you at that time to help you to express that purpose, bring that purpose through into reality, make it seen, make it known, make it resonate, in the world. And I think that's also important to note, It's not what you do, it's why you do it. What you do can be an expression can be millions of different expressions of why you're doing it. You know, for me, I love potential. I love vulnerability, and I love to learn. My reason to be here on this planet is to realize my potential through helping others realize theirs, and working together to share that message. You know, to that's the difference I'm looking to make in the world, is to have this this introspection, this dialogue, a part of everyone's life. And this podcast for me right now is an expression of that. You know, it's helping me achieve my purpose by being vulnerable, putting myself out there, you know, developing my communication skills so I can be a more effective person in the world. And who knows what ripple effects this will have. This might land with some people, it might not. But, you know, it's bringing my intention into reality. You know, it's bringing my expression through. So, yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys think. You know, if you're listening to this on YouTube, drop a comment. What's your journey with your purpose? Are you living through your purpose? Is your work your purpose? Are you getting paid for your purpose, or is your purpose outside of your work? Do you have a family? How do you see purpose with family? Yeah, drop a comment in YouTube or on Spotify. And yeah, connect with me on Instagram. I'd love to chat. You can follow the Unified Field podcast under tough_pod on Instagram, on TikTok, on all that stuff. And you can follow myself on IG, Instagram, and TikTok, TomCat, TomCatt. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. That's it for today. Stay tuned for another episode next week. And maybe after that, there might be a little episode about Arnhem Land. So yeah, have a beautiful day, have a beautiful life. Much love. Peace.